yourself up to have a failure of a family. You're going to make a failure of a child. Because the person that you're going to have being the most important part of that child's life has bad programming that they're going to program into your legacy that's not even going to be your legacy anymore. She's going to taint it. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, during those years, that's a woman's realm. She's in control.
All right, cool. Thank you for that. Auntie TJ, did you have anything else? Looks like you had something else to add. And then we're going to get to Rush.
Yeah, I've been trying.
No problem. Go ahead.
I think I understand what the young man was saying. However, yeah, women want stuff. But I think, to use myself as an example, yes, my ex-husband was very successful, very wealthy, never home. But who else suffered? Our daughter. Our daughter suffered. And I think that's what, from the clip, there has to be a balance, and right now there is none for many people.
Wait, can you expound on in what way she suffered? If you
because she never saw him. I'll give you. I have so many examples, and some people have seen my daughter say it on out of her own mouth that, because she's been on my show, that when she was about 9, she brought me her allowance, asking maybe if she could pay for some of her father's time. Because he was working all the time. Also, when she was 5, she drew a family picture. Me, her. I say, "Where's Daddy?" He's working.
Dang.
I can attest to that too. I'm sorry. That's what I was saying. I had made a point earlier. I was like, so many people have said this out of their mouths that they wish that their parents were present more. I can attest to this. You know how many how many plays I did, how much extracurricular stuff I did, and my parents maybe came to one or two, because they were always working. And for me, I had to beg them for that. I was like, come on, like, you can't come to one, just one. It's gonna break your bank so bad if you miss one shift to come to see me in something that matters a lot to me. Like, just one? Y'all don't realize that matters to people.
And I'm going to tell you something. And here's the thing, and I would tell my ex-husband, Danielle's asking for you. She ballet. He never went to a ballet recital, never went to her honors program. None of those things. I said, Danielle, and I would tell him some of the things that Danielle would say. He said, she didn't say that. But he would throw money at her. He would throw money at her, fly her all over the place, shopping sprees, and until she got to the age that she started asking for money. And then he said, well, she treats me like an ATM. Well, that's what you showed her. That's what you showed her. So even now to this day, my daughter has said, they don't have the relationship that she always wanted. Now that she's a mother and she's talked about, she sees the affection and the adoration that her husband has for their little girl, that she's never known that. So the money is there. The money's there, but you don't get the time back. And I feel bad when I hear my daughter talk about that.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So was that something that you knew the trajectory that he was on when you went under that man's covering, and that was the program that he had? Like, he was like, these are my goals. I'm clearly expressing this to you up front before we get married, before we make this child. This is what I'm planning on doing.
Nope.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so me personally, like, I've had that conversation. Like, my chick knows. I'm like, if we get married, this is what it is. I'm not stopping.
Hey, Reckless Fred, I had a question.
Yeah. Yes.
If you sat down with your spouse and said, we got this plan and we got to focus, and this is what we're going to do for the next 30, 60 days.
Yeah.
She trips and falls, injures one of her hip bones and needs a surgery. Would you deviate from the plan, or gotta focus on that plan? Hell with the hip, we'll glue you another one 6 years from now because of the plan.
Scam. I've cut my entire family off for years at a time because they didn't fucking get it, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
You asked and got an answer. Like I've literally
Honest
I went like
Hey,
literally
I shouldn't
over
have
5
asked.
years without talking to my mother who birthed me because she didn't understand what I was trying to do because they couldn't see it. And I came back with
Reckless, that
results,
would
and
be a
now
little
we're
bit
good.
different than your own kid, though, right? That's a different relationship dynamic than maybe doing that, not speaking to your own kid for 5 years. That's different, right?
It depends on what it is.
Well, I will say this. You sound like my ex-husband, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is what it is. But my ex-husband did the same thing. As a matter of fact, when I met him, he was, estranged from his family because he was an entrepreneur from the time I met him, for sure. So he's always been an entrepreneur. But it's a lonely existence.
Well, 100%. But so is leaders.
Hold on, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
It's a lonely existence because you don't allow anybody to get close enough to you to penetrate. I mean, to have any type of influence in your life. So I think what the solution is, I'm not saying don't go for that, but I'm saying there must be a balance, especially when it concerns more than you.
Well, when you say more than me or more than you, hypothetically, so more than me, what are you consisting that of? Because more than me for me means changing the trajectory of my family. It means moving the needle forward for the legacy that I've been put on my shoulders because they didn't do well. They failed. So it is on me to sacrifice the things that I want to do, the things that I would enjoy doing, the things that I would like to do. I do not get to focus on happiness. I've removed that from my existence because I need to do what I need to do right by my ancestors and my family and I'm not estranged from my family right now. Like we're thick as thieves because they understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I come from a matriarchal family and they're not ready to follow. They were not ready to follow a man. Yeah. So I had to do what I had to do. I had to go show them. I had to bring them the water in the bucket, splash in their face a little bit and be like, look, this is what I'm trying to do for all of us because what you guys are doing isn't working. It hasn't worked. And I've watched you lose every piece of wealth this family had because of your negligence. Now, I don't want you to talk to me about money. You need to come to have me help you get your bags. I got you. But there has to be a hierarchy. There has to be somebody where it's like, hey, this is how we're moving together. I'm not trying to take all the profit.
What I'm saying is this. Yeah. I've never heard anyone on their deathbed ever say, man, I'm glad I wish I missed this chunk of my child's life because I made an extra $100 or so, or because I did this or that financially from. I've never heard.
You're talking. That's
it's always, and typically when people get older, once they've, I guess, you could say they've retired, particularly like a lot of times when they hit retirement age because they're not so much worried about money anymore. The main thing they focus on is trying to establish the relationship they didn't have with their children during their younger years. And then, some instances and some relationships where it's, because the child has always longed for that time, has always longed for that connection. You do have some children who are accepted with open arms, but you do have some children who are resentful. And it's like, I don't need you now. I'm an adult. I'm living my own life. I'm making my own way. Like, what do you want from me? So it's a toss up. Like the bottom line is, yes, I get much. Yes, providing is important, but also, I mean, even if you take a day or so, or like a week or so, or something, some extra time for them, because a lot of times, especially, and I think what TJ was saying, especially people who are entrepreneurs, they are so focused. I'm talking about tunnel vision on this. I got to make this business work that they completely neglect all other aspects of their lives.
But see, that's what it takes. Right.
That's the sacrifice.
What I'm saying is, every now and then, you do have to look up and say, all right, there are other parts of the life that matter.
Right. Shoo. So coming from the other side of that, because